Welcome to On the Bubble Podcast, episode 124. I'm your host, Basa J. Wade, and with me is my co-host, Yuki Lee Bender. Today we're going to be doing an episode on Silver Age. We'll be covering the topics that was covered in the Dev Talk that got streamed yesterday for the 6th anniversary. I guess before we talk about that, Yuki, did you play any PQs this weekend? Coming at the close to the end of the PQ seasons, and how did your PQs go this week?
Yeah, so I drove down to Seattle to play a PQ, about 2.5 hour drive or so at Zuli's. Fun to see some of the people down there. We kind of get to see them, I don't know, once or twice each PQ season is kind of what it feels like. So definitely people that we know, but they aren't really our locals either. So I went there. Jay went somewhere else. We'll get to that, I'm sure. But yeah, I decided to try playing Fi just to kind of shake it up and have some fun. I went 3-3 on Fi, lost to 2 Verdants, a Dory, Dawnblade Dory. Not a good matchup as Fi. And then I beat up a Gravy, a Fang, and an Ira. So I don't know if I'll be playing more Fi, but I don't know. It was cool to see what the hero could do with the new hunted cards. I think he's a lot better than he used to be.
That kind of sounds like as expected. Like you lost the Verdances and the Dory, and then you won against the kind of decks that I feel like Fi would be good against.
Yeah, I think Fi is like okay against Verdants. Yeah, my opponents, like one of my opponents just did 8 Arcane to me, and I didn't really have AB on turn 0. And then at some point I was at 18, and they're just like 6 Arcane, you're at 12. I hit them down to 4. They're like, okay, cool, but here's 6 Arcane, you're at 6, and then I just died to Striders. So not really getting to interact with Arcane felt a little bit tough. And the other person resolved 3 Fellings against me. So, you know, sometimes Verdance just gets the win. So that's their right.
Yeah, Earth Heroes' rights is being able to play 3 Fellings.
Yeah. They like fellinged me, which forced me to Arsenal. Then it did CNC, then Plow, then 2 more, then back-to-back Fellings. And I'm just like, yeah, like we're not winning this game ever. Like it's just, you know, that's how it goes.
Yeah, Earth Hero privileges. Didn't you play Earth Hero for Victoria as well? Because we haven't recorded since that one as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, I played Victoria, which is the island, and you have to take a ferry to get over there, basically. I brought Verdance to that PQ. I went 5-0, so I was first seed. I think it was like 20-ish players. And then I ended up conceding to my friend because they really wanted to try to qualify, and I don't know. I wanted to play more PQs, I guess. So I was sort of like, if I get to semis, like, I don't know if I'm going to play my semis because I don't want to like not get to play more PQs. So maybe I just scoop now to my friend who wants to actually have a shot at qualifying. So that's what we did. Yeah, I don't know. Verdance felt good. Nothing like too surprising, I guess. I think people have recognized Verdance as like maybe just the best deck or certainly one of the best decks. Maybe some debate about whether Syndra or Gravy are like on par with her or she's in a league of her own, but regardless, I think Verdance pretty widely considered to be very, very strong right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, for myself, I played the same PQ for Victoria. That one I got demolished by Yuki in round 3, and then lost to Syndra and missed top 8.
What hero did you play?
Oh, sorry, I was playing Florian. It's a Florian deck that like Edison made. Let's just say I got roasted by Edison for losing to Yuki. I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, I might have lost the game anyways, but I definitely did make some outrageous misplays, at least according to Edison. So yeah, get roasted by him. And then I run back this Florian deck the Saturday after at Kelowna, which is up north in the mountains, essentially, from at least where I live. And did like a 3-4 hour road trip with my friends. And I actually got to win the Saturday. So I ran the Florian back, and yeah, I ended up going like 3-2 for 6th place to top 8. And then I won my mirror against Florian in top 8. And then the rest of my opponents was not interested in the, what's it called? The PQ win for the Pro Tour invite. So I just conceded me into the finals for the win. So yeah, this was the it felt like the average PQ experience of after you top 8, who actually wants the invite and who wants to play the next day's PQ. in at least at Kelowna, there was another PQ on Sunday in Cam. Oh, sorry, I went to Kamloops, won the Kamloops one, and there was another PQ in Kelowna, and they're about like 2 hour drive away from each other. So like they're both like in the interiors of BC, and so it's like it was like a double header weekend for most of the locals in that area. So like I think a good chunk of them just wanted to play the next day as well. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And what's really funny is me and my friend booked the hotel to play the doubleheader there. So I kind of just sat there on Sunday watching my friends play the PQ because I couldn't play the Sunday event. And I'm just like, do I just drive home in the middle of the afternoon or do I wait for my friends? Ended up just like playing random card games at the table and just like hanging out and grabbing my friend's food between rounds and stuff. So it ended up being okay, but like, man, just standing there at a PQ being like, wow, I wish I played my like casual huntsman deck that I like scrapped together on Friday night.
Yeah, the updated PQ system sure is a decision. I think it is funny because I remember I always used to hear about this happening in some areas where like people would just scoop whoever wanted the invite into like the finals and win. And I'm sure that this happened in some areas because like people were telling stories about it, and I don't see why they would make it up. But that was actually like never our experience. And then I feel like ever since the changes, like basically every PQ, there's somebody conceding somewhere, sometimes multiple people conceding. So yeah, I don't know what things are like globally, but here it is, let's say, pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it was really bad in Kamloops because like after everyone played their top eight game, and then after the top eight game resolved, the tournament just ended, like immediately ended.
Yeah.
Nobody played their top four game.
That's not good. And I think it's like part of the problem with creating a system where like winning, I don't want to say it doesn't feel good because like, if you get invite, you get gold foil, like obviously that feels good.
And winning a tournament feels good.
Yeah, yeah, but there's like a feels bad aspect to it of like, yay, I won, and then there's like the realization of like, wait, like I don't get to play however many other events that I was looking forward to playing, and I'm kind of like in some sense like punished for my win. And I think that that's just like not, it's just not good. It's just kind of bad. Like you shouldn't feel bad for winning your event in some way. I think that's like, yeah, you just create really weird incentives basically. So I get what they're going for. We talked about this last week. We are still not fans of the system, I think it's fair to say.
Not a fan. Also, not a fan of no drafts. I think it might have been actually a good thing there's no drafts this season with this system because there's way more possibility I would have just like not taken the win if there was a draft coming up. Whereas like because they're CC events, I kind of don't care if I don't get to play my local ones because we have our local ones at Vancouver coming up this weekend.
Yeah, we actually haven't had any events that outside of the ones that we have to travel for. So everything's been like a drive or a ferry or something. So yeah, we actually haven't gotten to play any of our local events, which maybe for some of you puts into perspective if you're like going like, why are people conceding? Like this is part of why, right? Like the local events that I drive 5 minutes for or 10 minutes for are coming up now. So I've played 3 PQs and it's just like, well, I kind of want to play those local events. They're really convenient. I like those stores. I know everybody there. It's a lot of fun. And if I win these early ones, I don't get to play the later ones. So yeah, it's just like some weird considerations that you have to do.
Maybe the line is to try and convince some of these judges to let me judge instead.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think either of them would want to play over judging.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, I'm thinking about who they are, and I'm just like, nah, there's no shot.
Oh no, I have a chance with Eric. I'll be like, Eric, are you sure you want to wake up on Sunday?
He'll be like, I like money.
Oh my god. No, that's the exact phrase he's gonna use.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then let's move on and talk about the one of the announcements for the next like OP local-ish tournaments, which will be the Road to Nationals. It's just kind of a surprise. Road to Nationals is early this time. It's scheduled for January 3rd to February 1st, so first month of 2026.
Yeah, so this is like quite a bit earlier than we usually get because we typically get a PQ season like I want to say February ish. Like we get like the new set early February, and then we have a PQ season, and then like usually like a PT, and then a road to nationals and nationals, kind of like over like the like May June sort of months ish. This is way earlier, January through February, and they didn't really say very much about it. They were just kind of like start your year off right. Here's the road to nationals. Here's the promos. And that was all that they said. We do kind of know from other dev talks that there's going to be some larger changes to OP. They sort of mentioned sunsetting ELO as a thing they're doing, presumably with some kind of replacement. And I don't know if the schedule is getting reworked. Well, clearly it is a little bit at least because of road to nationals. But yeah, we don't know like when nationals will be, and maybe the idea is if you qualify or not, and then you can have a chance to try and qualify through some other means. That would be like sort of my guess behind the reason for this change. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see. I think I kind of like this though. I feel like there's often this lull of like worlds finishes in November. There might be like a calling in December on your continent or like your region, like APAC, Europe, North America. So you like might play an event in December, and then January is just completely dead. There's just nothing besides like armories.
Oh yeah, that is usually the case, isn't it?
Yeah, like there's just kind of this like big lull, and then I often find the summer months, at least as somebody who plays, like I usually play Road to Nationals, and I usually play Nationals, and I usually play PT. Those summer months are like when I get the closest to being burnt out on the game. Like I usually, like after finishing Singapore, I just didn't touch Fab for like 3 weeks because I just needed a break to be able to like come back and play Worlds and really focus on the game again. And so potentially, I like the idea of spreading this out. I don't know what the rest of the calendar looks like, but I do think that that's sort of like rather than having a lull, have it be a little bit more even would seem like a good change to me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Also, like the earlier these events are, the easier it is to plan your trips to like I like having the amount of time to queue for the event and then like plan travel, then travel to the event. Like being able to plan the travel for Yokohama now for the PT Yokohama is like really good for me now. Whereas like before there wasn't that much time being like, oh, I queued for London. Can I go to London? Is like becomes a question. But now it's like I'm queued for PT Yokohama, you know, I can now look at flights and then start booking it and like not get hosed on like last minute flights.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think for nationals, especially from like a North American perspective, North America is just a big place. And, even though we're traveling within Canada, it's usually East Coast. That means like a 4.5, 5 hour flight. 3 hour time change. So you basically spend a whole day on either end traveling. And it is like a fairly big commitment. And for folks in the US, it's going to be really similar. Obviously, it depends where you live, how much you have to travel. But for a lot of people, you're going to have to travel. And this is maybe a little different than Europe or Asia, where a lot of the countries are just like physically smaller, despite being like dense population wise. And, you know, there's many European countries where you can like no matter where you are in the country, you can drive to your RTN like an hour away, kind of thing. And I think like like Hong Kong is going to be a similar deal where it's not that hard to get to your nationals. So I think for some areas this maybe doesn't matter so much, but for larger regions where you might actually have to travel quite a distance to get to your nationals is a pretty nice change.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess like technically like traveling from one end of Canada to the other end of Canada is like further than one end of Europe to the other end of Europe.
Yeah. It's like I remember telling people like, yeah, we drove like 4 hours to like Kelowna, and they're like, oh, is that like in another like how far is that? I'm like, well, we're still in our same province of British Columbia, and they're like, oh, I live in the Netherlands. When I drive 4 hours, I can go from like Netherlands through Belgium into France. So you like drive through an entire country, and you're just like two countries over by that point when you drive 4 hours. And it's like so it's just like super, super different.
Yeah. I guess it is really interesting because of like Road to Nationals is like a national event, but like every country is so different that like it must be very different experiences for like depending on where you live in the world, right?
Yeah. Because I think for some people, like your PQs and your and your nationals events are going to have basically all the same players because it's close enough that people can easily travel. But for us, it's like we don't see the people in Toronto besides nationals, or like maybe if we both travel to a calling or something. But they're not coming here for ProQuest because you have to fly for super long and it's just not worth it. So it is like much more distinct communities because the distance is just so great.
Anything else you want to say about Road to Nats? I guess the big change from PQ and Road to Nats is you can win these and still play more.
Oh, really? Is that confirmed?
Well, there wasn't any written statement about not being able to play. I guess it would be a more like in the article. There's no mention of you not being able to play if you win one.
Okay, we will have to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, like the biggest thing is like RTNs are usually top 4 gets the invite. So like if you remove 4 players, imagine like being in like February and like playing the last RTN and being like, do we have 8 players to run the event? It's like, 11 people from our locals is gone. We usually get like 22 players. 3 people can't come. 7 people show up. Like, that sounds
Yeah,
awful.
that does not sound good. That's a fair point. Okay, very interesting. And do we know the format for this? Is it
It's only
CC?
CC.
It's
Yeah.
only CC. I'm a little surprised that they're not pushing Silver Age. We'll be talking about Silver Age a bunch soon, but I'm a little surprised they're not pushing that.
The product for the Silver Age decks, I don't think will be out by the time Road to Nationals is happening, right?
That's fair. Yeah, they did mention that there's like upcoming Silver Age support. So
Yeah, because the Chapter 1 or like the first set of decks are coming out in February 13th. Or actually, both chapters are coming out on February 13th from at least the article that I'm reading right now. We'll talk about Silver Age as at the very end of the episode as well, but yeah, it's gonna be with the release of the next set. So January to February, none of the Silver Age product will be available yet. So I don't think that's. I think that might be the main reason why they're not hosting these at the local game store yet.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And we continue to see really good promos. There's for top 8, it's Rainbow Foil EA Twin Drive with sort of like the anime art that we've seen spoiled somewhere previously. I can't remember exactly where. I think it might have been like a calling stream. And there's also a Cold Foil EA in the palm of your hand for top 4. So yeah, just cool to see like nice promos that are good cards. Pleiades maybe not seeing the most play right now, but in the palm of your hand is definitely a great card for her. So that's really cool. And in a similar vein, Skirmish Season 13 is November 29th through December 14th. That's your last chance to play Blitz. And there are some nice promos. There's the top 4 for the Rainbow Foil EA Herald of Succum. And there's also a top 2 promo that is either Everbloom Life or Consigned to Cosmos Shock as cold foils, which I kind of want to get. So I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to try to play some Blitz just to get these Everbloom. Honestly, both of them are pretty sweet, but the Everbloom Lives are the ones that I really want to get.
Yeah, Everbloom Life is a great card. They need to ban that card, but yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. And if you like playing Acilio, Consigned to Cosmos is just like a staple. I think that card we'll see play in Acilio basically forever. So
yeah, that one doesn't need to get banned.
yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about some of the next couple topics very quickly. The 2026 Calling Winner card got announced. It's Quick Dodge Flexors, big upgrade from what we had this year, and that's
Stonewall
Gauntlet.
Yeah. And it's sort of like a return to form because previously we had Tunic, Crown of Providence, and Bodge, which were all fantastic. And then it was like, well, what's the generic legendary from this year? Oh, it's Stonewall Gauntlet. Yay. So that one was, I mean, it does see play. It still sees play in like Verdance currently, which is a top tier deck. It's just not the most exciting card. Whereas like these other ones are all just staples that see really widespread play. And I think Quick Dodge Flexors is also in that category. So yeah, super sweet promo card. It looks like it might, I don't know if it was just like the promotional material, but it looks like it has like a Marvel textless side that says Calling Champion at the bottom. I don't know if that's like actually the face of the card, or I think it probably is. It looks pretty cool. It's definitely like a different look for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of like the aesthetics of the new card. I would suggest people to just like look at it, like Google it, or if you have a spoilers page somewhere in your Discord, take a look because it really does look cool.
Speaking of promo cards, they've also announced that for the World Championship, they have a kind of like Marvel special Rhinar that is, I don't know if these are rainbow foil or cold foil, but there's like a golf Rhinar and a romping club that is like a golf club. That's kind of fun. This is for spending $150 or more at the merch booth. I was saying to Jay that I keep wanting to buy merch, but it's like a little bit too pricey for me to be able to justify it, especially like the American, it's usually like American dollar prices. And I'm like, it's just like a little too much. These are nice, but it's just a little too much money. And maybe with the promo, they might actually get me. Like if you sell the promo, suddenly the merch is like not as expensive. So maybe they'll get me. I'm kind of impressed.
Okay, yeah. I kind of like, just the freebie kind of things that are just like value added for the players and not that much cost to the people producing it. I'm a big fan of these promos.
Yeah, and honestly, these Reiner promos are like kind of fun. I know Reiner is like a little bit of a niche hero, but he got a bunch of support in Super Slam, and he's getting an armory deck. So who knows? Maybe we'll see more of Reiner. And I guess on the topic of armory deck, there's some new spoilers. There's some equipment that cares about beating chest. We're not going to talk about those today, but there are two cards that we will talk about from the Reiner armory deck. So the first one that I think I'm the most excited about is Bear Destruction. This is a brute red. It costs 2, attacks for 6, and blocks for 3. It has beat chest, so as additional cost, you may discard a card with 6 or more power. And when this attacks, if you beat in chest this turn and you don't control a chest equipment, this gets go again. And the next brute attack action card you may play this turn gets +2. If you can play this and then follow up with another attack, assuming that you've beaten chest, which it beats chest, so it can do this, you potentially get like a 2 for 8 go again, which is pretty strong, even if you do have to discard a card. You get the intimidate out of it. So I could see this on like a blood rush turn being pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty powerful. I'm not as high on this card as you are, Yuki, but I think my main problem or main issue with this card is that it says the next attack action card you play gets +2. And I'm kind of worried that you're gonna like run out of an action card you can play off of the Bear Destructions. Whereas like if it didn't say action card, if it was like the next brute attack, you can like swing with Mandible Claw or something for 5, which is like so reasonable.
Yeah. It definitely has a cost. You definitely need a really big hand to pull this off because you're like discarding a card to the beat chest. But what interests me about this is like with Savage Sash, you can potentially go super big. Like Blood Rush, play this for 1 on a Savage Sash. You don't have a chest piece. Then you Claw. That's like, I guess that's 6 resources. But
Yeah, it's like it's so close, it's so reasonable, but like, oh man, like why did it need to have that extra phrase of action card on this card? Like if they remove the word action card on it, man, I know this card's good, but like
yeah.
it being action card actually like limiting is such a big downside where like you get attacked by command and conquer and this card's like significantly worse. Any disruption of this card's like significantly worse. And if you're just playing a 2 for 6, that is not where you want to be.
That's true, but I mean, some amount of 2 for 6s are kind of like par for the course in Reinar. So it having a good like baseline stat, decent, and then it has a pretty big upside. I think where this card is really going to be strong is when you draw it with Beast Within, because Beat Chest is not a random discard. You choose the card, so it does have a lot of synergy with Beast Within, and to a lesser extent, Seat Legs.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I guess we'll talk about the other spoiler card that is very interesting. We don't know if there's a red one. I don't think so. I think it's just yellow and blue, but there's a card called Smell Fear. Costs 0. It's a brute action that blocks for 3. And this card reads Beat Chest. And it says, if you've beat chest this turn, intimidate. Your next brute attack this turn gets, if you've intimidated 2 or more times this turn, this gets +3 power. Go again.
I think the thing is if you beat chest either to this card or another card, and most of the beat chest cards just care, like Bear Destruction just cares that you've beaten chest this turn. It doesn't have to be to its own effect. Same thing with Smell Fear. I think they all work this way. So if you've beaten chest this turn, you've intimidated twice already, and then this just gives you +3. So this is sort of like, and this card also, actually, sorry, I guess you've intimidated once, and Smell Fear intimidates once, is what I should say. So you will satisfy that, and this would just be a +3. So this is like kind of in the vein of, what is that card called?
Barraging beatdown.
Barraging Beatdown. Yeah. So I don't know if there's like quite enough. The big question is like, is there enough good beat chess cards, and like, does this card stand on its own well enough? But it's kind of interesting. Like, you play this, you discard a 6, you do Barraging Beatdown for, like, let's say it's a red one for 4. You've intimidated 3 cards at this point. You get +7 on your next attack. You Romping Club, that's a 4. You come in for like 11 with triple and Tim. Yeah, it's a 4-card 11, but it's very evasive. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I kind of think this card will see play.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed with Smell Fear. Like, Barraging Beatdown kind of like got better as you played more copies.
Mhm.
It is kind of like awkward that it doesn't really work with the random discard stuff, because these cards aren't 6 powers. But if you get to play like 9 barraging beatdowns and 6 more smell fears, you're like a 15 quote unquote like about head jab, go again stat lined intimidate card. That's kind of sick.
Yeah, and the other thing that is sweet about this is, obviously you can beat chess to enable this card, but you don't have to. So for example, if you play Smell Fear, it intimidates once, and then if you play any of the other intimidate cards, so like a Pack Hunt or an Alpha Rampage or a Show No Mercy, any of these cards that intimidate on their own, you'll still get the +3 from Smell Fear, because it doesn't actually care about you. I guess it does. Oh, sorry, you need the intimidate from the beat chest. Sorry, my mistake. So yeah, you do need to find 2 ways to get it, but I think that still is relevant. That there probably are going to be spots where you might intimidate twice and not need to beat chest, and then this is just like a yellow head jab kind of.
Mm-hmm. It's it's kind of interesting. There's at least now another different way to maybe build Rhinar. So I'm very big on Smell Fear. Maybe becoming a card. I don't know if it'll actually be a player, but it'll definitely see our replay.
And I think I think Reiner's already kind of close. We saw him top 8 calling Shizuoka. Armory deck kind of good. He gets a blue 6 power that costs 3, which is just like super good. It blocks for 0, but yeah, that card is great. And then
yeah, any card with 6 is good.
yeah, especially blue 6. So yeah, some nice upgrades for Reinar. These won't be legal for Worlds. They are legal for the calling, but then you're playing Reinar in LL, and I don't know if he's getting quite that much support. So
I don't know if you can like keep up with like turn 2 40, like intimidate 440 you on turn 2, like that's pretty good. I don't know if you can
yeah,
get there, but you know.
maybe you can play Berserk Reinar. I remember like one of Ellie's locals was like, he had like a math or physics background, and he just had this Berserk combo Reinar deck that he had worked on like super, super hard. And it was kind of inconsistent, but for whatever reason, anytime I played him, he would just go off on like turn 2 or 3 and just kill me. Like, I just got like OTK'd on turn 2 or 3 like every time I played Simon at Armory. It was insane. And I was just like, how is this deck not the best deck in the format? And then I watch him play someone else, I'm like, this is why. But every time I played him, I got destroyed. Like, it was not close. He's just like, intimidate your whole hand, here's 40 damage. I'm like, yup, like, this is not good for me.
Is Berserk legal in LO?
It is legal in LL, so it is a direction you could go. I don't know if it's good enough, but maybe.
Okay. Honestly, I'm kind of interested to see what happens at Worlds. We really haven't seen a LL tournament fire with like a mass number of people. I think the Battle Harden recently had like 20 people or something.
It was 34, but yeah, not a lot. Small, I think smaller than the PQ that I went to in Seattle. So
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I was like very briefly looked at the breakdown. We're not gonna talk about it, but I looked at the breakdown and go, huh, single digit everywhere. Ooh, that's not a good sign.
yeah, it seems like the community at large is not so high on LL. I'm curious to see if that will change with Worlds and what all the sentiment will be, but Yeah, it does not seem like L has been gaining the traction that I think LSS probably hoped it would. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with this format.
Okay, then let's move on to Silver Age. I think this is a topic that I think a lot of people are interested about, and the question is like, is this gonna pop off? Unlike LL, hopefully we'll see. I really like the affordability aspect of Silver Age. LL is definitely a format where cards are expensive, and you kind of have to spend another $500 to build an LL deck. Whereas Silver Age decks, the Silver Age product is $20 US, which is reasonable. It's like the same price as if you were to like put together a random commoner deck from a store and order it. It's gonna be about $20. So that'd be sweet.
And that is kind of like their whole pitch for Silver Age. So what is it? It's a 20 life young hero format. All the heroes, all the young heroes are legal, I should say.
No, all the common and rare young heroes are legal.
Common and rare young heroes. Thank you. Yeah. And then you can play commons and rares in the format, as well as like basic cards, is what they say. So this is stuff like Phoenix Flame. And then there's maybe no living legend. They sort of said that they wanted an eternal format. So that makes me think that there's no LL in this format, but I don't know if they've like announced enough details for us to know for sure. But that is kind of the pitch of this format, is that it's a blitz replacement, a little bit like lower power level, maybe a bit of a return to like the very old days of blitz. When Jay and I started playing, it was actually just like all blitz. Skirmish was like the highest level of play at the time, which is like kind of a funny thing to think about now. But yeah, and the blitz games were actually decent. Like they would go on for a little while. Ira was like kind of the top deck, and it was like very much like a mid-range Ira. And then as we got more cards, it got more and more powerful and kind of became what it is today, where people die very quickly. And I think Silver Age is trying to kind of bring that power level down, extend the game a little bit, and give people an on ramp where they can experience not like degenerate two-turn Flesh and Blood, but like a more full experience of what Flesh and Blood is actually like at a really affordable price tag of the $20, which makes a lot of sense. I think it's like a great move.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the biggest, what's it called? I think one of the biggest appeals of Flesh and Blood is when you have no armor, you're scrapping the games, and the game kind of like feels really close. That doesn't happen in Blitz, so hopefully the power level goes down enough in Silver Age where you get to do still unfair stuff, but you get to be like really grinding it out, like at the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah. I guess they haven't said as much, but I'm assuming this is also a replacement for Commoner. Commoner was kind of a fun format. I know you enjoyed Commoner quite a bit, Jay. An issue I always had with Commoner is certain heroes just didn't really make sense without the rares in their card pool. You felt like you were missing like a huge part of the hero identity. Like, for example, if you wanted to play Dromai, you could play Rake over the what is it called? Rake?
Embers of
The make three Ashwings.
Rake the Embers.
Rake the Embers. It's banned in Silver Age, but in Blitz you could play Rake the Embers, the make three Ashwings card. Or sorry, in Commoner you could also play this, but you couldn't play any of the dragons, right? Like you couldn't play your Themais, your Kylorias, and that just kind of like feels like a huge miss. Like you're the dragon illusionist Ash lady, and you just like don't get to make your dragons besides Ashwings, and that kind of sucks. And like similarly, I don't think Prism had access to any auras at common. They're all rares. So like the whole aura side of Prism is just not present. And I think a lot of these heroes have this, not all of them, but many of them have this problem where there's some rares that are really important to their identity. And opening that up, I think lets the heroes feel closer to what they're kind of like supposed to feel like. And obviously it's going to be different. There's no M. So the cards you play are maybe going to be different. There's maybe cards that didn't shine in CC that will shine in Silver Age, but I think you get more of that hero identity by including those rares.
Yeah, I think so. And it's like, honestly, from the get-go, I didn't really understand why Commoner didn't include rares, because
Yeah.
like it's just like not that many more cards and it's not that much more powerful. There's like no reason not to include it. And like you can play rare equipment in Commoner, so like that also just made no sense to me. But now Silver Age is like really like I think this format's gonna be a little bit better than Commoner, just because like yeah, as you said, there's gonna be more decks available. So at least for now, be pretty. I'm gonna be working on Silver Age a little bit, Do you want to talk about the 3 battle hardens that are coming up?
Yeah, so we do have three Battle Hardens this year. They kind of said these are like early access events. So this is in Valencia, Seattle, and Hong Kong. And these events, you can look up the exact dates depending on the event, but these are kind of like end of November or into December, depending on the event. And there's one in each region. So yeah, there's these Battle Hardens. I believe they're attached to callings. I know Seattle's a calling, and I imagine Valencia and Hong Kong might be as well, but I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, it's cool. There's going to be some Silver Age events coming up. So if you're itching to play, you can maybe try to make one of those. And if not, we'll probably get some deck lists from that. And it'll be cool to see kind of what the first glimpses into the format look like. And I know that LSS is pretty confident. They sound pretty confident that they've balanced this format quite well. And it's at least like a really good starting point for the format. I'm sure things will like evolve and there might need to be more bans in the future. That's kind of inevitable, but they've tested Project Blue for a while, in especially in the like New Zealand area. They had a bunch of Project Blue events, and so I know that they feel pretty good about the format going forward, which is exciting.
Let's quickly talk about the product that's coming out with it. It's going to be the Silver Age Precons. Apparently, there's going to be 10 decks that's going to be coming out. This is going to be price point at about 20 US dollars, which is about the same price as if you were to just like build any commoner or like commoner plus rares deck. So, like, honestly, great price point. Mike, I have 2 questions about this. Do you think they're going to include cards that are like exclusive to Silver Age or like exclusive to these decks? Because that would be either interesting or a new way to add support to some of these decks that might need it for even like CC.
What I've heard is that they will be adding it. So there will be cards that are not currently in the game in some of these Silver Age decks, but they will also be added to the game at some future point, and they're in upcoming products. So I think that they've released a couple of things early, and if you really want to play said hero with that support either for Silver Age or, and I believe it's also legal for CC. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure, but I think it's legal for CC. So if you really want those cards, you need the Silver Age decks, but they will be coming out, I don't know, soon, whatever that means. I don't know if that is. They kind of mentioned like there's an upcoming booster set that's meant to support Silver Age called Pen. That's the next set. They mentioned that's coming out, so I don't know if they're all coming out in Pen or if it's like even some of them are further down the road. It's not like super clear, but I did hear that this is what's happening.
Okay, that's kind of good to know because like this seems like a easy way to include cards that are very like specific to that hero that needs the support. Like one of the decks that are coming out is Bravo, and Bravo really needs the help in CC.
Yeah, yeah, no, it does seem cool, and yeah, I'm kind of curious to see. They sort of said that like you can play Silver Age now. That's why they have these early access battle hardens. But they said that the set will really blossom when Pen comes out. So the next booster set, I guess, early next year. And I was kind of curious. They're just because they were like, it's gonna like change Silver Age for all the heroes. And I'm like, well, like sets usually have like 2 3 classes, like how is it going to affect everyone? And then they said, oh, there's like a bunch of rare equipment, so your starts in play, stays in play equipments are going to be pretty different for like most of the heroes. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I can see how that would be a pretty big shakeup to the format potentially.
Finish up the episode by talking about the ban list. This is going to be a quite a long discussion. It might not be. We'll see how long this will take. But there is a lot of cards banned in Silver Age already. A lot of them we're going to be skimming through because we've already talked about it on like previous episodes and they're kind of obvious. Do you just want to start from the top and just go down?
Yeah, we can do that. So Aether Flare is not banned in other formats, but I do think these kind of like spells that amp damage are always dangerous in 20 life formats with Kano. So I can see why Aether Flare is banned.
Wasn't Aether Flare banned in Blitz?
It might have been. I don't keep up with Blitz ban list, but yeah, it very well might have been. It's just like it's just one of the ways that Kato gets like super out of hand and kills you. It turns out like even without Striders, like he still has Ragamuffin's hat. You can do some pretty messed up stuff. We were actually cubing just yesterday, and that cube has Kano in it, and there's no Striders. And even though you are drafting your Kano deck, like I guess there's M's in that, but still, even though you're drafting your Kano deck, you can do some very messed up things. So yeah, Kano having a ban in a card like Aether Flare, which really lets you kind of like multiply damage, seems like a good move to me.
Agreed. Sure, let's move on. Talk about Aether Ironweave. Yeah, this card needed to be banned for sure.
Yeah, block one, make two resources is just a little bit too powerful. And I think like a deck like Chain is potentially pretty dangerous. So I think that this is probably aimed towards Chain, maybe also Viscerai. I think in general, they're kind of moving away from some of these cards that are just like a little too explosive as for a 20 life format. And we saw some of that in Blitz too. I'm not sure about Aether Ironweave in particular, but some of the other cards on this, like Goliath Gauntlet and Hardened Crossstrap, are banned, and they were also banned in Blitz. And it's just having too much I cash this in for value right now in a 20 life format can make the format become very, very fast. And Aether Ironweave feels like another card kind of in this vein.
Yeah, I guess talking about like Hardened Crossstrap. So Hardened Crossstrap is banned. Vest of the First Fist is also banned. So like all of these abilities are just like the chess piece making two resources. I don't think is gonna be a thing in the format. It's gonna be like the generic draw twos are all banned in CC right now. I feel like Silver Age is gonna be like generic make two resources at chess piece is all gonna be banned.
And then we have the glove slot giving you power also banned. So no Goliath Gauntlet, no stubby hammers. Just trying to bring down some of the explosiveness. Also no Snapdragon Scalers as like another kind of doesn't literally print value, but lets you have very, very big explosive turns.
So it's gonna slow down the game a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of common equipment actually just like gives go again. Like what's it called? We have like is it beat-in trackers? No, not beat-in. Oh, actually, beat-in trackers also does work, but
Mm-hmm.
there's like a brute generic common equipment that like makes an agility token. That's basically kind of like the same thing. So like there are gonna be ways to make go again with your leg pieces, just not as free as Snapdragon Scalers.
Yeah, and not as available to everybody. And part of the problem with these cards is like you might be like, well, like how big a deal is Hardened Crossstrap? But the thing is, once you start combining them together, it gets really disgusting. Where like I remember in Commoner for a long time, like Ira would have Goliath Gauntlet and Hardened Crossstrap in a lot of matchups, and sometimes you're just like, okay, give my I don't know, I have like a 2 for 6, give it +2, it's free, here's 8 for like my one card 8. And like that's just really strong, especially when you can tack other things onto that turn to make it even bigger. Maybe you add snaps for a 0 for 4, you have like a 2 card 12. It gets out of control really fast when they're combined together.
Yeah, I think the main card is Surging Militia. If you go Goliath Gauntlet, Hardened Crosstrap, Surging Militia at the end of your turn, your opponent explodes. Like it's just the Surging Militia reads for each blocking card gets +1 power and attacks for like with the Goliath Gauntlet attacks for 7. So it's like you're at like 4 life, you get attacked for 7. You just like look at your hand, you're like give you all my cards in my hand, take 4 or 5, like go to 1. Is like that just happens too often in like Commoner. Like that's just like a play pattern in Commoner that happens that's just
Mhm.
unfair.
Yeah. So taking out some of these really strong equipments, I think, is a good move. And I'm curious to see what the new equipments that they've kind of teased will be like. But
I
yeah.
assume a lot of them just gonna be like more blocking rather than offensive power.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Kind of in that interest of extending the game. Okay, next card. Actually, maybe I'll kind of group these together. We have Amulet of Ice. This got banned in CC a while ago. Icelander seems like she's probably good, and Amulet is not really a reasonable card. Ball Lightning, banned in CC, probably doesn't need to be in this format. Belittle, also banned in CC. Bonds of Ancestry, banned in CC and restricted in LL. So yeah, probably like yeah, you don't need Bonds of Ancestry in this format. That's definitely true. And Cashin also banned in CC. And I think with like the high seas heroes and all the access to gold that we have these days, yeah, you probably don't need a tome in, we banned all the books in CC. We don't need them in a 20 life format. It's not going to do anything healthy. In the same vein, count your blessings. This is a card also banned in CC and restricted in LL. So no surprises here. Drone of Brutality is also on this list. Been banned in CC. It's like the card that's been banned for the longest, I think. I think it was the first ever card banned in Flesh and Blood. So
Yeah, drone's actually not a problem card. It's just can create problem game states. Is probably more of the reason why it's banned.
yeah, I think they want to bring down the explosiveness, but not just have all the games be about fatigue. And I think banning drone, in addition to some of the other bans that we'll get to, kind of helps enforce that a little bit.
And then there's two more cards that are banned and restricted in LO, I guess. Banned in LO. Deadwood Dirge and Electrostatic Somersault. Yeah, we don't need these either.
Yeah. Dirge, I imagine that my guess is that Runegate Chain with Deadwood Dirge are probably a little too good. That's an LL deck. And yes, you don't get all of the toys that you get in LL, of course, but I could see that being pretty powerful. So Deadwood Dirge makes sense to me. Somersault makes sense to me also, especially when you consider there are D-React bans. So the next card on the list is Fate Foreseen. So basically these 4 blocks are not legal. So there's no Fate Foreseen, there's no Fiddler's Green, which is also a pseudo 4 block. There's no Flick Flack, there's no Sink Below, and there's no Sigil of Solace. So they've really kind
And
of clawed back on these life gain and 4 block D-Reacts.
yeah, and no Rootbound Carapace either.
Oh, and no Rootbound Carapace. So yeah, there's literally no four block D-React.
At least the free ones.
Yeah, at least the free ones. I guess there is Springboard Somersault, but you have to set that in Arsenal. So that card's like definitely a lot lower power than Sink and Shelter. Or Sink, well, not that Shelter would be legal in this format, but yeah.
Yeah, there's also like a yellow D react from Hunted, I think. Wasn't it like something to do with like marked or not?
Oh, Lalo. Yeah, you can't play it if you're marked, and it blocks for 3, but if they're marked, their next attack gets -1, I think.
Yeah, so you can play. There are some D reacts that you can play. Like Lalo might just be like the D react to play as most for most decks.
Yeah, and there are also 4 block cards that not Filler's Green that gains life, but there are other ones like Test of Strength is in here. There's like some 4 block cards from Super Slam as well. So there are ways to defend and do that. There's like the Tiger Eye Reflex, the ambush card that you can arsenal for Ninja as well. It's like a yellow. It's a block 3 that has ambush, and it makes a tiger that you can play on your next turn. So there are ways to be defensive and even get that arsenal value. Just not quite as powerful as what we're used to seeing in CC. And my guess is that the format, if you take out these powerful offensive tools, it could probably become all fatigue all the time very quickly. And I think ideally, for most formats, you have fatigue present as a thing that can happen, but it's not every game. And I think that's kind of like the sweet spot. Like you want games to go second cycle, you want some games to be about fatigue, but you don't want every single match you play to be about fatigue no matter what.
I assume this is an Oldham hit. Oldham sounds like a gross hero if you give Oldham all of these cards. I guess one card we didn't mention is Sigil of Solace as well.
Mm-hmm.
That card is also banned.
Yeah. So really trying to take this down a notch. I could also see like Reviled KO being a reason to hit the life gain because he gets Mocking Blow, and Mocking Blow with a Vigor is like a 2-card 10, which is like pretty powerful. And maybe, I don't know for sure, but maybe Reviled KO would be a little bit crazy with these cards.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Reviled Kale. Reviled Kale plays a lot of commons even in CC, so that sounds like a kind of a good deck.
And I think he hopefully will still be good. Like I'm already thinking about him like, oh, you got like Mocking Blow still. There's lots of good cards that you get, but just maybe not quite so high power level.
NIMBY. Yeah, sounds great.
Well, no, you don't get NIMBY because NIMBY is also on the ban list.
NIMBY's on the ban list!
Given what we've been talking about, probably it makes sense, right? Like it's conditional, but it's a 0 for 6 or a 0 for 3, make 3 resources. And that's pretty powerful. So if they want to make this format a little bit more fair, NIMBY being, I believe them that NIMBY could do some broken stuff.
Okay, yeah, yeah. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I did not notice the NIMBY on this ban list. Makes sense. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next card. These are headpieces. Honing Hood. This is one of those cards that are definitely, why is Honing Hood banned? I don't know.
Oh, I know why. It's definitely Lexi's fault. Actually, we were cubing again. We were cubing the other day. This cube has Lexi, Icelander, Kano, and Azalea in it. It's called the Midwinter Cube, designed by Oliver and Yichin, and I helped a little bit. There's actually an old episode on this, so you can pull that up if you're really interested in Midwinter Cube. But I drafted Lexi twice yesterday when we were cubing, and I drafted like Snapshot Death Dealer Lexi, and Honing Hood is disgusting in this deck. The biggest thing it lets you do is put a red Electrify into your arsenal, flip it to get Go Again, and get the draw card. But it can do a whole bunch of other shenanigans, but it's usually to do with kind of like getting this Go Again effect from the Lexi flip and getting to manipulate your arsenal in this way. And the Snapshot deck can get really out of control. And Snapshot is actually legal in this deck still. But yeah, I remember like in the early days of Project Blue, I didn't really test it, but I built a Lexi list and I was like goldfishing it. It's like, this list sure does do like 25 damage every game, like in a few turns. But granted, this is with multiple band equipment like Snapdragon scalers as well as Honing Hood. So I think without those, probably a lot more fair.
Okay, fair enough. And we have Mask of Three Tails. This is the ninja headpiece that if you hit three in a row or three times its combat chain, you get to draw a card. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, reasonable. This is one of the best cards in Commoner. Yeah, it just makes sense. Like I'm okay with this card being gone.
Yeah, it's like Mask of Momentum, except it doesn't have to be in a row. So yeah, the card is gross.
It's like it's okay. Like it's fine. This card's fine. Like I'm okay getting them getting rid of it to make the games a little bit slower. And I would have been okay if they Ninja had access to this for a little bit. I don't know. It's fine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What's Old Knocker?
Old Knocker is the one block chess piece with Blade Break from High Seas, and it has, as an instant, you can tap your hero and gain a resource. This is a little interesting to me. I wonder if this is like, I was going to say a Kano hit, but I also know that Spellfire Cloak gets a resource on your opponent's turn. I guess it doesn't block one at the same time, but you also have like Blossom of Spring as a you get one resource kind of card. So
It must be. This must be for the Wizards, right? Like
yeah, but they get Spellfire Cloak.
Icelander. Oh yeah, they get Spellfire Cloak. It's exactly the same card.
Yeah, they don't. I guess they don't get to block one and then make a resource. Is the difference? Maybe that's like, oh, maybe that's what they're going for. They don't want you to block one and then make a resource. Maybe it's just like bring down that end game that Wizards have. In CC, it's Storm Striders. In LL, it's probably like Kano activating Kano on your turn, or Icelander playing a blue from her arsenal.
Or even like Acilio, just doing Acilio stuff when you're
Yeah.
being blocked for one shock sounds kind of gross too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, block for one, make you empty your hand, and then activate Volzar for not free, but you pay one with Old Knocker, so essentially free.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about Old Knockers either, but probably Wizard. Next card is Plunder Run. Yeah, goodbye Plunder Run.
Yeah, banned in CC. Not too much to say. Next card is Rake the Embers. We touched on this earlier. This was like one of the best Dromai cards, and with Dromai having access to all of her dragons, I think taking down Rake the Embers, the Ashwing Maker, is probably a good move. I trust all. I see this and I'm like, yup, I could see Dromai being a little too good with all of her cards. Fair enough.
Dromai in Commoner is not that popular, but is playable, and all that deck is doing is just playing Rake the Embers. And if it's playable in Commoner, which is like a reasonably high power format, and if just Rake the Embers, no dragons in that deck is playable, this plus dragons have to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was watching somebody play Dromai and LL, and it's just like sometimes you see these old heroes and you're just like, yeah, I forgot how good some of the CC decks from before were. Like, it gets pretty crazy. All the dragons attacking for free is just like really strong. If you're a deck that has a bunch of poppers, yeah, you have interaction, but like a lot of decks don't. And yeah, Dromai puts you in this nasty spot of like, It's kind of like the gravy spot, except they always have the Avastis and the Rums and everything. So like it's never safe to leave them with a dragon because you leave them with one dragon and they're like, oh, I have 10 damage on board. Sigil of Solace attack you for 10. I guess that's probably another reason Sigil of Solace is banned, but yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Ragamuffins hat's banned. Yeah, we don't need that for Kano. And then next card is Reality Refractor. This would have been the best card in the format if it wasn't banned.
Yeah, there was an Enigma deck that could use this with Spectral Manifestations. The math on that is outrageous. So,
It was the best deck in Commoner for a season, and it was so oppressive that you just played Enigma or you lost. So, yeah, we don't need to do that again. You know, we don't need a 2 card 10 or 2 card 11 or whatever the math ends up being.
yeah, the craziest part about it is like the math on it's good. And if they don't clear it, you just get this weapon that hits them
Great.
for 8 off one card over and over again. So you're kind of not allowed to block. And then, yeah, it's really broken.
Yeah, we don't need this card. And another weapon is Rosetta Thorn. We also don't need this card.
Rosetta Thorn, kind of like a classically, maybe this card was a little too good weapon in the vein of Winter's Wail, which was a majestic, and Voltaire, which was also a majestic. So taking out Rosetta Thorn, good decision. I'm giving a thumbs up. I realize there's no video, but I'm giving a thumbs up.
And then Seeds of Agony. This is just a chain ban. Yeah, we don't need this card because this is just gonna be a combo card that is gonna make the game degenerate. So yeah, goodbye Seeds of Agony. This is just like a pitch stack combo kill chain card, right?
Yeah, yeah. You play a bunch of seeds with Rift Binds, and my guess is that Chain is still probably good. That hero ability is just so powerful, getting free go again and essentially free cards because the Soul Shackle is really good. And I think you just don't want to make it too easy for him to beat one of his weaknesses, which is fatigue. And so, like Belittle being on the ban list, as well as Seeds of Agony and the Aether Iron Weave, I think are all good things to bring Chain in line. I'm sure Belittle's there for other decks as well, but yeah.
Yeah, we just don't need excessive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need that deck needs some weaknesses, and if you let Seeds of Agony in the format, it just like is like a really oppressive aggro deck that also just like you can't block out because if you try, you just still explode. We talked about Sigil, we talked about Sync. Guess the next card is this is a sweet one. Vigorous Smash-Up. What do you think?
I heard that Tough Nut was too good. I don't know, like maybe it's Rock.
Rock is a majestic.
Maybe it's Romping Club.
Romping Club would make sense.
I don't know. Perhaps I could kind of see Tough Nut being pretty strong. The Vigors are like a pretty big part of the power budget in CC, where you kind of get to fix like the 3 resources to pay for your 3 costs. And if you ever get 2 of them for some reason, you get a free Romping Club swing. So I could kind of see it. I don't know. I don't have experience, but I heard this was for Tough Nut, and that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It might be like actually, I don't know. It's so hard. Like I saw Vigorous Smash Up being banned, and I'm just like, that's kind of interesting. Maybe it's not even just that too. Like I was just thinking like if Reiner gets Vigorous Smash Up, it's kind of good too. It's like all the brutes kind of want this card and they all lose it, so it's like okay, all the brutes just got like a little bit nerfed because like getting an extra resource in like Reiner is really good. Getting an extra resource in like KO is reasonably good. Like
yeah, these are like things that people have either played or talked about in CC. So yeah, makes sense.
Reasonable. And then we have 2 more cards on the ban list to talk about. Waning Moon and Zephyr Needle. They're both weapons. Let's start with Waning Moon. Yeah, this card needs to go.
Yeah, Icelander has been, from what I understand, Icelander has been extremely good in Commoner for basically the format's entire existence, and I think a lot of that is off the back of Waning Moon. I think a lot of people's gut reaction is like, oh, you take Waning Moon, Icelander's hero ability doesn't do anything, but the reality is you can just play bigger spells that cost more, and it still does something. So
I think with Waning Moon gone, though, Icelander might not be as strong.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll see. Because like Icelander's not really a deck in Commoner after Waning Moon got banned.
That's fair.
It's just like has a hard time closing games without the Waning Moon. And no Storm Striders. So Yeah, we'll see if the rares actually make this deck playable or not, but I kind of doubt it at this point.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll have to see. Trying to think about what you get. There's nothing like super obvious that what you get because a lot of them are commons. But yeah, when it's sort of like the spot where like I think Icelander with Waning Moon is like definitely too good, and even who knows, maybe this is part of why she's getting a deck
A precon?
precon, isn't she? Yeah, she is. Icelander precon. Maybe they've given her something that either like main deck cards that are a little more powerful for a game plan or another weapon that isn't Waning Moon but is appropriate for the format.
You know, it'd be sweet if they make a mini Waning Moon.
Yeah, yeah. They
Like,
could
imagine they
or
have like if they just call it like small Waning Moon, and it's just like if you played a non-attack action on your turn, it does 1, and it does 2 on your opponent's turn. I think that would be pretty fair.
yeah, yeah. I could very much see them giving her like a very similar card that is not quite so powerful.
Yeah,
And
like
yeah.
knock a point down. That's fine, man. Like even if it comes in for 2 during your turn, it's gonna be so toxic.
Yeah, I mean, 2 card floor, give them a frostbite. Yeah, it's still decent, still decent, especially for lower power formats. So
Yeah, exactly. And then this forces you to play AB2 now. It's like you don't have sideboard space in this format. Like, stop. Like, I don't want to play AB3 in my decks.
she gets a Meritus Scalding, so her kill range is like 6.
Ah, that sounds gross. Stop.
That's pretty strong. So I don't know. We'll see if they print that card, but I think some kind of I expect that Icelander has something to make up for the loss of Waning Moon that is like somewhere in the middle in her deck. We'll have to see if that's true. Last one, Zephyr Needles. Yeah, I mean, all the retrieve cards are legal, so there's probably there's probably some stupid retrieve deck that you can play.
Pretty sure almost all of the Ira Retrieve deck was rare common.
Yeah, you don't get flick knives, which is really big, but you do get danger digits as like a one-time flick knives, and you have cards like Hurl that can allow you to flick to cost a resource. But yeah, I feel like I could imagine an Ira Retrieve deck that is. I mean, like Zephyr Needles got banned in LL because Ira Retrieve. I don't know that Ira Retrieve was actually too good. I think it was just one of the better decks in the format, but still, it was one of the better decks in LL. So that should give you some perspective.
Yeah, and it got immediately banned in CC, and it was too good in CC. So yeah, and it's just like we don't really lose anything. Like yes, we lose Flick Knives, but like that was more relevant for like games with 40 life and where you have to like play more than like 3 turns. With 20 life, you don't really need Flick Knives, right? Like Danger Digits is already kind of like you're exploding them after you use Danger Digits once.
Yeah, because they get like up sticks at rare, and
Yeah,
they still get pick up the point. So yeah.
yeah, that's all you really need.
Yeah, that was kind of all the cards that you needed for that deck to function, and then some ways to flick, and you probably put some hurls in your deck. And yeah, I'm already imagining this deck, and it sounds broken. So
Honestly, that kind of seems pretty good still with just Kodachis.
it's
You might be two
definitely.
points short, like where the two
I
Zephyr
wonder.
Needles.
I wonder if you can play Mary in that in this format. I know he has Mary. They have a precon too, right? I think
Yeah,
so.
Arachne Marionette is, or Arachne Web Slinger, I think is what it's called as a young hero.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I could see like I like Dagger Mario a lot in limited, and yeah, I wonder if that will be a sweet hero in this format. Um, I guess I'll say that we kind of talked about like the rares bringing the hero identity. It also just brings them more in line with limited because you play limited with commons and rares, and it's sort of like, why is commoner this format where I don't get to do the things that I get to do in limited? Like that just sort of like makes sense intuitively that there's like a bridge there. Not that it will always be the same, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was really curious on why they didn't include rares in the first place, and now they did. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So obviously we're super early. What are your impressions on Silver Age? Are you excited about this format? Not excited? What do you think so far?
I am kind of excited. I'm just kind of sad that Victor's probably not going to be a playable deck. So I play Victor and Commoner a lot, and basically like half of my deck is banned. which is all of the D reacts. And just like the defensive decks that are like usually like super defensive just won't work as well because all the 4 blocks are gone, and commons and rares attack for 4 a lot, so you actually really do need to be trading damage in this format is what it looks like there's no way you can just block out somebody and win. Maybe Oldham can do it with his hero ability, but I'm kind of doubting it without Sigil, Solace, and Sink Belows. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
but
the
it's
format's gonna be healthy.
yeah, it's possible you could have like I was actually thinking about Victor because you still get Test of Strength as like a 4 block that potentially draws you a card, and you can still play like the Valda block card that blocks 4. You can reveal a Crush card, get a Seismic Surge when you block with it. So they're like just are 4 blocks available. You don't get the D reacts, of course, but
No, so the biggest problem is like you know how like people say like you should always be able to beat fatigue in CC. If you just like play reasonably into a fatigue deck, being like, oh, I'm willing to IP3 Arsenal pass to make sure I swing a 5 card hand every turn, like fatigue just can't beat that.
well, yeah, but I wonder if Victor is like a little bit less fatigue and a little bit more proactive and just gets to like have good value where you like
We don't have Visit the Goldmane Estate, and we don't have Golden Sun.
sure, but you get to block 4, draw a card, and you get to block 4, make a Seismic Surge, send a 2 card 8. Like that those are just like powerful things to be doing. So I don't know. Yeah, it's possible. Keep in mind, like I think, well, I guess I don't know. There's rares as well, but I was gonna say I think the power level may be a little lower than some of the common or aggro decks, but maybe that's not true with the rares. I don't know.
I'm not a believer right now. Yeah, I'm just not a believer right now. It's like you're still gonna get attacked by 1-1 by Kodachis, which you can't block. You're still gonna like all of the good aggro things are still gonna be here. Fatigue can't beat in Commoner, and we lost. We lost Fiddlers, we lost Sink Below, we lost Fate Foreseen, we lost Sigil Solace. Like, yeah, I'm just not a believer at this point, at least at this point. Yeah. I think fatigue will be playable up to a certain level, but like if you try to like win a battle hardened, you're gonna be coming into this spots of like, oh, there are just gonna be like very simple strategies that people can execute that make fatigue a very like fragile deck of like you're gonna draw up a hand and you're gonna have 2 of these block cards you can't arsenal, you're gonna have 2 blues in your hand, and what do? Like you have to arsenal blue, or like you just don't arsenal and say pass, like swing hammer, like you're just gonna get to these spots where like some defensive decks would work, like but I can already see that like you're gonna get in these spots where a lot of the times like these fatigue decks just like got away by like arsenaling the D react. You not having that option to arsenal Fate Foreseen, Sink Below, any of these D reacts is gonna be a huge problem for these fatigue decks.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I feel you on fatigue. I feel you on fatigue, but I feel like you might have like non-fatigue options, like a little more mid-range options for some of these like defensive decks where you're playing a defensive longer game, but like maybe leaning less into hard attrition and more into like value, which I think is reasonable
I think the other thing is we lose Spinal Crush.
compared to CC. Sure.
Yeah, which I don't even know if Spinal Crush is good enough in CC right now, and
I like disable though. Disable is quite good. I don't know.
Disable is 3 card 9 is I don't know if that's good enough.
I don't know. There's like the chess piece that blocks and then makes 2 seismic surges, and you can have like a 1 card 9 disable. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah, okay. I'm not a believer.
I'm not totally sure. I am not sure I'm quite as down on these decks as
I
Jade
just
is.
think if you're gonna play Victory, I'd rather play like Oldham or any of Earth the Earth Fuse Guardian attacks, which has like non-crush on hits.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, maybe that is better. I don't know. Ooh, I wonder if Pleiades is a deck in this format. Anyways, sort of getting off track here a little bit. Yeah, the Silver Age, there's tons to explore, so many heroes legal, and kind of just like literally just a brand new format with all the commons and rares available for deck building. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for deck builders. I'm hoping to spend some time on this after Worlds, because I'm going to be going to Calling Seattle, which is CC. But if I happen to qualify for the Battle Hardened on day one, I will. I would like to play this format. So I don't know how much energy I'll have to be brewing at that time, but in a perfect world, I would be playing a fair bit of this format and trying it out before Worlds.
All I know is at least week 0, at least for Seattle, I'm gonna guess I'm just gonna play chain and run people, run at people.
Reasonable. What if I fatigue you?
That's impressive because Commoner chain was really hard to fatigue.
I'm gonna fatigue Jay. It'll be reverse.
Yeah, honestly though, I would love to see the day that Yuki fatigues me. That would be amazing.
Jay's on the aggro deck. I fatigue Jay. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I cannot imagine myself getting fatigued by Yuki ever.
Mhm.
I can't even imagine you playing like 16D react decks. Like I can't imagine this.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like something I would like to play.
Yeah, honestly, I can't imagine Yuki being willing to IP3 pass draw 1 and being happy about it. That's just a play that I can't see Yuki doing.
I feel like when you do that, you're like too deep in the sauce.
Nah, 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 nah. Not deep enough, Yuki. You're just not deep enough.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just too much. I'm too value pilled to allow myself to want to make those plays.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm the deeper I go down the fatigue hole, the more I'm willing to just IP2 draw 2 and go, oh, oh, that's so good.
Fair enough. All right. I think that's going to be a wrap for us on this episode. Thank you all for listening. Hopefully, you enjoyed hearing our thoughts on the anniversary stream and Silver Age, especially. Pretty exciting. I'm very curious to see how this format's going to shake out, especially with LL not doing so well. I hope Silver Age kind of grows some roots and takes off. And who knows? Maybe we'll see this in the future in tier 4 events in place of LL. I'm not saying that LL is dead, but man, doesn't look good.
Does not look good right now.
Which is too bad because I've actually been having fun. Like, I mean, I do want to say this. I've been having fun testing LL. I think it's a powerful format. Broken stuff happens, but I actually have been enjoying playing it, and I'm a little bit disappointed that it's like so poorly received by the community. But you know, it is what it is. People feel how they feel, and people at the end of the day need to be enjoying the game to play it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with LL, and we'll see what happens with Silver Age. But yeah, pretty exciting time for Fab. Lots of kind of turnover and new stuff happening, and probably OP announcements coming up at Worlds, I'd imagine, which I'm excited about. So yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to in Flesh and Blood right now. And yeah, so good luck to everyone. Hope your progress go well. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on social media. I'm on Twitter at YukiLiBender. Jay's also on Twitter at UedaJ. You can also find me on Blue Sky, same tag at YukiLiBender. You can find us. We have an email onthebobble@gmail.com, and we have a patreon.com/onthebobble. I guess we missed the Patreon shout out, so thank you to all of our patrons. The Patreon Discord has actually really been popping off lately. Lots of discussion, people doing well at their PQs, some people winning, getting their first qualification, stuff like that, with some of the lists on there, which is really cool to see. If you want to check that out, you can. Patreon.com/onthebobble. There's Syndra KO on there recently from this season, so lots of good stuff there. And yeah, that's going to be a wrap. Good luck to all of you at your upcoming events, whether that's PQs or Worlds or whatever. Riftbound. I was playing some Riftbound.
Yeah. Okay.
Just with the starter decks, I played on the island in Victoria and a little bit just the other day when Lucas and I both didn't do well and Ellie was in top 8. We're like, what if we grab a drink and play some Riftbound? Game's pretty fun. It's like kind of Magic like, where you have like lands and you get mana back, and then you play your guys, and then there's like 2 lanes, and you get points from winning the lanes. Yeah, it's not bad. I think the game is like pretty solid if you kind of want like a magic like dude basher type game. Apparently the game's a lot more fun with the constructed decks than the precons. I felt like it's like a good base, but not like super exciting. My biggest takeaway about this game is I think in a vacuum, I would probably try playing this game. But I think in the reality of the world we live in, um, there's like card availability issues because people didn't get enough allocation. And I also heard that some event just shortly after Worlds sold out in about like 5 minutes. And this is like very much the experience I've been having with Gundam. And what I realized with Gundam is I was like, this game's pretty good. I don't know if I like this game enough to like deal with trying to get cards, scalpers. I finally get the cards. I can't sign up for the event. It's just such a pain. And I think Riftbound might be in the same category for me, where I like this game. I don't know if I like it quite enough, but who knows? Maybe down the road that will get sorted out and the game will become easier to play. And then I might actually check it out. I think the game's pretty fun. I know a lot of stores have like demo decks available. So if you want to try it out, maybe ask at your LGS if they have demo decks. Quite a few stores, at least around here, have them. So yeah, good way to get to try out the game. And it's pretty fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, did you know there's a Battle Hard in Tacoma coming up, and that's hosted by Laughing Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like a weekend thing with like multiple different games, not just the Battle Hardened. And Friday, 11 a.m. sealed for Riftbound.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm planning to go to this Battle Harden. What if I go Friday and play the sealed event? Hmm.
that's what I'm planning on doing at least right now is going on Friday playing Riftbound, Saturday play the Battle Harden, and maybe stay Sunday play PQ Plus. Um, trying to
Mhm.
get like that
Mhm.
sorted out. I might actually just be going with my Magic friends and crashing at their hotel. That's what I'm discussing right now. Just because there's also like a Magic Modern thing going on that same weekend at the same venue, so it'll be
Mm.
I'm kind of happy that they're doing these multi-game um you know venue sharing things. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of like the SCG con.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's very cool. I guess I'll probably see some of our Magic friends there as well, which is really neat. And because we don't get to, or I don't get to see them as much because I don't really play Magic anymore. But always good to catch up with folks and see how they're doing, and kind of fun to have that like event experience where you go, how's your event going, even if it's not the same event that you're playing. It's nice to check in.
Yeah, honestly, you get like kind of more interesting like conversations when there's like multiple different like TCG people like in the same venue, being like, "Oh, how's modern like right now?"
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you get to have the same experience as someone else, even though they're playing a different game, where it's just like, yep, my opponent drew super good and I got run over.
Yeah, or you're both going like, yo, you want to go get a drink? I'm O2 at my event. Oh, I'm O2 at my other event. Awesome, let's go get a drink.
Yeah, yeah. Some experiences definitely transcend whatever game you're playing. So yeah, it's fun and it's nice to have those crossovers. We had a lot of that early on in Flesh and Blood, and a little bit less now that the game's growing more and often has its own venues. But yeah, it's nice. They're both nice in their own ways. So yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up the episode here.
Good night, everyone. Good luck at your PQs.
Hey, see ya. Thank you.